Anyway, continue.
I hadn't even started.
I mean, continue on with it.
What drew you to online dating?
Well, oh God, I'm going to have to be honest here. Okay. I want to be in a relationship, and I realized that it's been hard to meet people. And since it's worked for other people that I like in my life, I realized that maybe it will work. And I sort of did it as an experiment. Like, oh, might as well try it.
What's the most committed relationship that you know of your friends or anybody that you know that met online?
Actually, my mother and her partner have been together for almost 12 years now, and they met on Match.com in a very small town. It was very weird. And then a person that's in my graduate program met his partner of 3 years on OkCupid.
So your mother and her partner, how do you feel as an outsider looking at their relationship? Do they seem like compatible and happy? Does it seem like a better relationship than what she was in before?
Yes, my mother and her partner are a great match. I can't even believe... I didn't even know that they met on Match.com for a long time because I was like 13 at the time, and they're great together. So I am very impressed and I think it was sort of like she had never really done that before and he had never really done that before. And it just was a perfect coincidence. And they just emailed back and forth. And my mom says that she liked that aspect of it because you can get to know someone in a little less pressured environment. So you can email back and forth and people feel a little bit more open and honest, I guess, through email.
How did you feel about online dating before you signed up yourself?
I'm still kind of judgmental towards it. I was judgmental towards it, thinking that it was honestly for desperate people. And I still am kind of embarrassed because I feel like I'm too good for it. Like I'm better than that. I shouldn't have to do that.
If you do find somebody that you have a lasting relationship with on an internet dating site, is it important for you to tell other people in your life that you met elsewhere? Or would it matter to you explaining to them that you guys met online? Or if you, like, just hypothetically, you have children with a man that you meet online, would you tell your kids that you met on an internet dating site?
I think it'd be a really funny story to tell people that, yeah, we met on OkCupid. I think it's pretty funny. I mean, as long as it's a really awesome relationship, I wouldn't care because I wouldn't care. And I think it's a funny story. But I think some people, I thought about that actually. Some people might, because I remember my friend in my graduate program told me that he met his partner on OkCupid and he was like, but don't tell her that I told you that because she might not want you to know. And I was like, oh, well. So some people are weird about it.
Some people are self-conscious about it, but
I think it'd be a funny story.
So much more common now, and it will just keep being more and more common.
And how funny would it be if it's like, oh yeah, you end up actually having a long-term relationship with somebody that you messaged on an online website by being like, hey, you're cute. Want to hang out? Okay. Like
that's a great tagline. That's a great one to remember later. What was the most important thing for you in finding a potential partner on an internet dating site? Because obviously, like looks are you're just going to go through pictures, but that only gets you so far. Mm-hmm. What is like the parameter for which that then becomes the next step? Because you're going to find like, here's a group of people that meet this criteria, and then let's find the ones that I'm attracted to through that. So what is...
It's interesting because I feel like you can actually, this is going to sound silly, but you can actually tell a lot about the person by what they write. You can see like their profile. And I feel like the more words less is more. Mm-hmm. I feel like the more words are, but it depends. I don't know. It's hard to put into words. It's sort of like the combination between their pictures and what they say. There's not really a formula in my mind. There's nothing specifically that I'm looking for. I just get a vibe. I go off a vibe. Like this, like sometimes I'm just like, yeah, that, or no, and I don't even know why.
And do you feel that same? Do you feel that same way when you're essentially doing the same thing offline, when you're like perusing a group of potential mates, or if you're in a bar situation, there's a group of cute guys that you might be interested in, or you're in that kind of flirty feeling. Does it feel any different looking through a series of pictures, aside from the safety net of like them not knowing that you are? Are you looking at the same criteria when you look at people online? Or are you being more judgmental, less judgmental?
That's actually interesting because I just realized that when I'm online looking through these guys, I think I can be more honest with myself than when I'm actually in the room with people. Like, I tend to be overly nice, so I will maybe consider somebody that I normally wouldn't. So on this, I don't think I'm necessarily more judgmental, but it's like if I'm going to do the online web dating thing, fuck yeah, I'm going to be picky. Like, so in real life, I can see that that's the benefit of like online dating is, you know, you don't have to be a certain way in front of them. You can just be a little bit, I guess, my goal is to be more honest. I think even now with Facebook and social media, people might start having difficulty determining what is, or being able to judge for themselves, like have you know, that vibe I was telling you about, like you have like an instinct about somebody. And it's possible that, you know, if we get too used to like, I think anything too image oriented, the fact that we're just responding to images makes us disregard like that natural like impulse that we have that are drawn to certain people or those initial feelings. However, I think overall, part of the issue that we're having with dating just in general is that everything goes so fast. We expect to know somebody so fast, and what we don't like, it takes so long to really get to know somebody. And even with the dating site I've experienced already, it's like, whoa, this is all happening so fast. Part of the reason why I was interested in doing the website is because of the idea of being able to email back and forth. But I don't know if that's even a reality on these websites anymore either. I think that's the biggest issue, is that we expect everything to happen so fast and to like instantly make connections. And that's just not how it works, in my opinion.
So I finally started giving online dating a shot, a serious shot. And the hardest part is writing your biography.
Yeah,
you know, OkCupid is what it. And so, and I don't think I'm a very good looking guy. Like I'm kind of got, issues with that my whole life. You know, I've always been like short, and so you have to go fill out there 5'7", it's like that right there, like no girls, like they're all going for 6'1" and dark, tall, handsome, like it's and that's another hard thing. You see this on a lot of dating sites, only if you're tall. Why should you mess with me if you're tall, you're tall, and you just want to fucking shoot yourself?
Seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. So you get over that part, and then you gotta write this thing of like who you are in like 5,000 words or less, and you write this thing up, and if I read it to you, like I don't even think I have it. It's basically, it's just like I just want to go into the bathroom and throw up. Like this is, if my friends read this, they would fucking become an idiot.
Good point.
But you have to write it yourself, because I've known people that have had someone else write theirs for them, and then they go on a date with that girl. It's like you're not even
no, that doesn't
that you don't even add up. Like
don't even know what you wrote.
Exactly. And then you have all this idea of like I used to do this whole long thing of like, I feel really bad about like, well, how do we get from the interwebs to to face to face, and that's just always super creepy to me. Mm-hmm. No matter how I look at it, they're there to meet guys, you're there to meet girls, or whatever your thing is. But that part was always like I would end up like doing all the talking about the dating on like the things you should have face to face as happening over email, and by the time I finally get around to say, hey, you want to go do something, they're talking to 3 other guys that have, taken that step. So it became this like, okay, you want to meet up? Sure. Okay. Now we're going to meet up. And now it's just like, okay. Now you get there and you already know a ton about this person. And then you just start like, from there. So I've had some, I think the first date I tried to go on, I got stood up, and I was just really fucking kind of butthurt about that. And so I didn't do it for a while. And then I went on some other dates, and, they were fun. And then I went on a date with a girl, and she was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And it worked out. We started dating, and it was like, there's something, and it moved really fast. And then all of a sudden, we're kind of together. And then she got pregnant, like 3.5 months. And that was really scary, like, in my life. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? And everything was like super like fast forward, and I was like, how am I going to explain this to people? Like, I met this girl online, like, what was I doing? Like, I wasn't being smart enough, we weren't being careful enough, what's going on in my life? Like, It had a very sad ending. She ended up having a miscarriage, on Christmas Eve of all times. And
No way.
Yeah, it was bad, and, and our relationship didn't last much long after that.
Do you feel like that whole situation moved fast because that was sort of the expectation of what the site was supposed to give you, or do you feel like that was a personality thing between the two of you?
I think we just really hit it off at first, and I always curious how our relationship would have gone had she not gotten pregnant, because I have nothing, I think it put a lot of stress on us. She's a good person, and I wish her all the best with everything. I don't know, we had a very rough breakup. She, I saw a side of her when she got pregnant. I was like, I don't know if I want to, spend the rest of my life with this person. We talked about all the options, and we finally, made the decision that we're going to have the kid. And, I would have backed any decision she wanted to make. She's like, I want to have this kid. And I was like, at first I was like, you sure? And, I always made, it's never, I'm of the idea that it's always the woman's decision. I have input, but, eventually it's her body. Everything her's going to change. So she's like, okay. And I swallowed the bullet. I was going to follow my own sword. And I think that was the hardest for me, is I had finally just said, okay. I was fighting it, like my whole life's going to fucking end, and everything is like, going crazy. And then I said, you know what, fuck it. You buy the ticket, take the ride. And then it just wasn't anymore. And that was just weird. So
that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. And, it's like 70% of all relationships that where there's a miscarriage and breakup or something like that. It's very high. And so, yeah, it's one of those things. It was very hard. I had really good friends around and everything like that, and really thankful that I had really, good people to lean on. And it wasn't easy at all. It wasn't, probably a lot harder for her, for sure. And it was a very difficult situation. I think that online dating is the future, because we are so driven by technology that it's just going to become the norm eventually. And it's kind of, I was talking to somebody that said he was at the grocery store and he seen two girls, one was very pretty, and he walked up, said, "I'm sorry, you're very beautiful. I was curious if you want to go get a drink sometime." And then her friend was like, "Is he hitting on you in the grocery store in the daylight?" They were like, so like blown away. Like this was like completely out of their environment. Like,
So you have a history with online dating. You've done it before.
I have. I am a homosexual, so like I have like.
Okay, this interview is over. Thank you. You can finish that beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have experience in I guess Grindr, which is the gay dating app.
So how does Grindr work?
So it's only for like smartphones. So you have to have a smartphone to use it, and basically just kind of. It has a picture of everyone who uses it on it, and then it lets you know how far away they are from you by feet or by miles or whatever. And you can message each other. You can send pictures to each other. You can put like a little brief bio about yourself, what you're looking for, how tall you are, just like a little description about yourself. And
if you were using this app, would it say like, here's someone in like a state over, or?
So it'll just tell you how far they are, like as just in like distance. Like
right.
This person
does it go
like,
up to like 100 miles, or is it localized?
I think you can. I mean, so you can either pay for it or you can use like the free app, and I just have the free app where I think it only goes for a certain amount of miles.
Okay.
Because it's to be honest, it's a hookup app.
Right.
Like that's kind of what it was. I think that's why it started, but I don't know. It's interesting. Like when I first got it, I think the first time I ever used it was in like 2011, probably.
Do you know how long it's been around?
I don't know actually.
I thought it was newer than that too.
No, it's been around for a while.
It certainly predates Tinder, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tinder kind of stole its model.
Yeah.
Grindr is specifically for the homosexual community?
Yeah, and only males, like no women. Yeah. So, I mean, there are those accounts where there's like a girl on it who's like looking for gay friends, blah, blah, blah. Like,
that's hilarious. Have you ever gone out with one of them?
With one of the girls?
Yeah.
Or, no.
Just looking for friends? Just go getting a drink?
I should have. I should hit one of them up one day. Just
That would be an interesting person.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay.
yeah. But the first time I used it was probably I think 2011, and I was still living at my parents' house, and so I went on it, and I would just go on it every few hours, and then like some guy who like lived, I think the next street over from me, who I never knew like lived there, and I had been living at this house for like 12 years. And like he had gone to a totally different high school than me, and like we were the same age, and it turns out he was gay, and there was like a gay guy living on the next street over than me, and so we ended up like talking and like sending each other pictures, and then we like met up, and he came over and like picked me up, and we just like hung out.
Do you feel like you wouldn't have met him?
Definitely, like I would have never,
because he's one street over.
Yeah, because I moved to Portland the next year, so
It would have, the chances would have been slim to none.
the first time that we hung out, we just kind of talked a little bit, and then that was kind of it. And then the second time we like ended up hooking up, and like we like made out, and he like started telling me all this stuff. Like he told me he had like this really big Lady Gaga tattoo on his side. And that just, yeah. And so he showed me, and that was it. I was like done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I don't want to say I've lost respect for you, but I have lost some respect for you.
In so many words.
Yeah.
Were you nervous the first time, or are you still nervous if you are using that site now? Like when you're first meeting someone, or is it just kind of like see how this goes? And
I mean, that was like I've only met like 2 people off of Grindr, and like I don't really like to use it.
Okay.
Because I'll go through phases where I'll just delete it, and then like I'll re-download it just to see like if there's anybody new that I haven't seen on there. And
so since 2011, you've only actually met 2 people through it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other than Grindr, I've used OkCupid, which
Any success on that?
not really. I didn't like how it was trying to match me with all these people. I thought it was really weird because I was like, how do they like know? I know you're supposed to answer all these questions, and then it gets to know you better, and then it kind of matches you up with like by those questions. But I didn't like it. I just couldn't trust it, I think.
When you do have Grindr on your phone, how often do you check it a day, do you think? Is it compulsive?
I say I guess when I have free time, kind of like if I'm just like sitting down somewhere and like I'm not doing anything, or I just have like a minute, like I'll just go on it really quick and see what's going on. If you pay for it, like people can message you even when you're not on the app.
Okay.
But if you have the free app, like you have to be using the app to talk to people and to like be on it. Like you have to have it open.
Is there a drawback to that, do you think?
Definitely, yeah. Missed opportunities. Like if someone like sees you and they want to message you, but you're not online, and then you go online and they're not online, so it just gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Well, when you're single, like I've been single for a while, you just kind of you're like, and especially when you're single and you're like a gay man, it's like it kind of gets old being like, hey, like do you have any gay friends to pick me up with? It's like. It's like, and I don't really like going to clubs and just like hanging out with random people. Like that's not really me. So it's like I like to like meet people and like go on dates, and
that's what I like
which
about.
It's really hard to do that in the gay community because most people just want to fuck anyway. So it's like
that's kind of what I thought. My takeaway from the research we did and the conversation we had was it's nice that these people that are using this app, there's no real pretension, or there's less pretension, I guess, about like what the score is. If you're open and honest and willing enough to just be on the app, I think your chances are just skewed better to be like, yeah, okay, we're not just bumping into each other at a coffee shop, and then I'm asking for your number, and then
hoping
you feel
you're
like
single.
You're like, oh, okay, or like, I have to insult. If there's kind of that filter that goes through it. Do you think that that's because it is different? It is way different. Even though you describe Grindr as a hookup app, it's different than meeting someone in a club.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I mean, especially when you're on Grindr, it's like most people are on the app to hook up, and like I used to get messages all the time of like like people would just send me their location like right away, just like, are you down, or you like hook up kind of thing, like meet me here, or like I used to get pictures of like dicks all the time, and like pictures of like assholes all the time, and like just
incredible,
straight to the point, like, I want you to fuck my ass, and I'm like, all right.
Good to know.
That's normally when I like sign off of the app and then I delete it. I'm like, I remember why I don't like this anymore.
Yeah. Hold on a second. We have a couple of late entries here. They think they want to be on our show.
Where?
Right here.
Who?
These two.
Oh, you want to ask them? You're really good with people.
They just said they want to be on our show.
To you?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. We'll invite them over.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
This just in. Do you guys want to come over? No, the other people in that direction. Sure. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing great.
What you guys up to?
Doing a little podcast, a little in the field reporting. I guess a little brief synopsis. We're talking about online dating. So anything you can think of to talk about that, we'd love to hear it.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting topic that you've brought that up. It's kind of like a weird, like, used to be kind of, I think, more of like a serious stigma like a couple years ago. It's kind of
Right.
coming more and more into the light. What I've found kind of interesting, like, I do some online dating, and
Okay.
like when at first it was something that I was really apprehensive about. I was like, no, that makes me a little too much of like, I don't know, maybe like a loser or like,
Right.
just wasn't really feeling it at first. But then I kind of found out that like it was kind of a little more of like an open kind of thing. Like a lot of people were into it, especially in Portland. What I've noticed is that when you like comb through like different various website profiles and stuff, you go from city to city, the cities that are a little more like progressive, like Portland, San Francisco, stuff like that,
Yeah.
they have way more people who are active and stuff like that. It's a little more open because they are a little more open technologically. You know what I mean?
Right,
There's a lot
right.
going on with web development and stuff like that. People a little more like apt to be using computers. Where if you look at stuff in like, you know, different various like Midwestern states where people aren't that apt to be using that kind of stuff, it's a lot more just like reserved and people aren't that into it because
Right.
it's probably still a little more of a stigma. And I've talked to people. I used to live with this dude from the South, but he was from Knoxville. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, and it was kind of like when I was first kind of starting to get into stuff, you know what I mean? Like in that vein. And I kind of got into it in a weird way because like for a time being, I was like temporarily handicapped and I couldn't
Okay.
leave my house that much. You know what I mean? I wasn't very social. So
Okay.
I was just like, fuck, dude, like, what am I supposed to do? Just, like, sitting around doing nothing, you know what I mean? Not meeting anybody, not going anywhere, not doing anything. And then one of my friends was like, hey, dude, like, why don't you check out OkCupid? And I was like, nah, dude, like, I don't want to pay for anything. And they're like, no, it's free. And I was like, nah, it's a bunch of fucking ugly chicks. And they're like, no, dude, the chicks on there are hot. And I'm
Okay.
like, that's bullshit. And I went on, and I was like, well, shit, dude. Like, this isn't, you know, like, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't, and like...
I knew this was going to
Come on over.
Sure, come on over.
You told me if they,
But we can smoke here? Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely. Of course. My name's Darren.
I'm Kitty. Nice to meet
Kitty,
you.
nice to meet you.
Is this a podcast?
It is a podcast.
It is.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Dan. I'm Kitty.
Yeah, Dan has headphones in, not because he's being antisocial, but because
No,
he's
not at all.
listening to make sure we're all sounding good.
yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're talking about online dating.
Are they? This
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah. it's
Because
pretty
you
appropriate.
prefaced it with
I didn't say anything.
that we met on OkCupid.
We did meet on OkCupid.
Oh,
We did.
So if you can see how hot she is,
yeah.
and what I just said about
If only this was a
What did
video.
you say?
what I said is that when I first started like going on OkCupid, I was like, there's no way that, you know, when I go on online dating that it's going to be like anyone good looking or anything. It's going to be everyone who's like not who you'd want to go out with.
Well, you're not exactly a nice Jewish boy either. So,
Okay, so now we're stepping into the middle of things here. And
but we figured that we'd interrupt these goys because we were innately more funny than you were.
we just have, we brought microphones, you brought the humor. It's a match made in heaven. Do you mind if we ask, there's a couple, you two met on OkCupid?
We did.
It's
Yeah.
okay? Is this isn't a first date?
This is a first date.
This is a
our
first
first
date? Right now?
That's how Jews get down.
Yeah, that's how
just
we
like
get down. We're
completely
very
vet each other.
familiar people.
Okay.
Because we're Jewish. It's just like this like openness. It's just like, you know. We've talked a few times. We've been
That's my first question. How long have you been communicating? Is this like today? Or?
periodically for like the last maybe a couple days here
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah.
Maybe like not that frequently
That's the
necessarily.
story.
Who contacted who first? No one wants to speak
can't remember.
first.
OkCupid.
I think I did.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I think
Yeah.
I did. Wait, no.
You did. I
Wait,
have the
no.
proof.
Okay, you did. Wait. Are you sure?
My parents are lawyers. I have the proof.
I can
paper trail
I'd like
exists.
to look at this right now because.
Fuck this guy. Fuck him.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, we've destroyed a date, and we're gonna go ahead and find someone else to talk
I'm
to.
pretty sure it was me.
No, we're Jewish. She's gonna leave with a handy at least.
Yeah.
She's polite.
Yeah, it might be in the bathroom, but I'll settle for that. Fuck it.
Oh, that's
Oh, okay. All right, here we go. It was me.
Don't read it. We don't need to read it per the producer of this show.
we wouldn't be opposed to a play-by-play, but it's at your discretion. That's fantastic. So
Blackout drunk. I don't remember what I said.
I'm online. I'm drunk.
It's usually where it comes into play, right?
Yeah.
Or the obsession with dataclysm. Have you heard the book written by the person who developed OkCupid?
No, but please tell us everything you know about it.
Here we go.
Well, he's a statistician from Harvard.
Okay.
And wrote a book on the statistics of people dating on OkCupid. So what race is attracted to what race and what body type is most confident. And there's a lot of like really good tidbits on the OkCupid blog. I feel like I should work for them. Like I should be being paid.
Maybe you should.
For OkCupid?
Yeah. I should.
Do they have? Do you think they have people that are on like kind of on the job updating how it works? You know what I mean? Like, is it like?
I think that they
think
have. I honestly think that they have people who work for them who are like bots, who are ploys. And I'm not lying. Like, I think that there's people, and not even necessarily who are working just for them, but like who are out there. Like,
But that's because you're a guy. I mean,
Well,
you
no,
get
I've
the
ran into
standard
people-
reply, but when you upload a picture of your vagina up close, they definitely send you personal messages like "stay classy,"
True.
that kind of thing.
True.
Is that what they actually?
I've
say?
never uploaded
They
a
did.
picture of my
They say-
vagina, so I've never gotten said message.
You really haven't experienced.
Exactly.
is
Maybe
that-
I need
yeah.
to try that.
Is that all the message says?
Stay
Just like-
classy.
and then it's just
Were you living in San Diego
No,
when
I
this
think
happened?
it was keep it classy.
Oh, okay.
But,
that's
yeah.
it.
And then they took the photo away,
Of
huh?
course they did.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Well,
Fuck.
I'm sure they didn't take it
OkCupid.
away forever.
They-
They're not sure where it
It's
is.
somewhere.
They took it to a, they
It's
took
on
it to a thumb
Pornhub.
drive immediately. It's in a
Saving
file.
this one.
Yeah, we get the
This
hard
anonymous vagina, yes. This is gold.
The worst experience I had, whereas I picked a girl up and she had like a lot of risque photos posted and kind of had more of this like approach that was a little more, I don't know, like.
But just to
sensual.
clarify, I did not have risque photos on my profile.
No,
No,
actually, your photos are very tasteful.
They were.
Your photos are very
So you
tasteful.
all know.
Yeah. Besides that vagina photo, but I didn't get to
Right,
see
yeah,
that.
no,
You
that's
texted me
fine.
that. I didn't get to see it
Right,
online.
right.
Yeah.
But that's why you work
I
at
did not
OkCupid.
text him a
Exactly,
vagina
exactly.
photo, mother.
So I picked this girl up, and I guess, I don't know, I kind of thought maybe like more would come of the date per se, but we get back to my house and we're hanging out, and I guess I'm kind of like trying to put the moves on. We're like sitting on my bed, and she goes, no, like this is the only way I know how to make friends.
Yikes.
And I was like, whoa. Excuse me?
That's fine. You know, we don't have
Yes,
sex,
well,
but
yeah.
we also-
exactly, like, don't lure me into some kind of situation like with a bunch of risque photos and then being like, no, dude, like I really just wanted to hang out. Like, this is the only way I know how to meet people because I'm socially inept. And then, you know, she started telling me how, like, you know, she was in school and couldn't really meet people and this and that, and she was really dedicated. And then she started going off in this story about how she was, like, staying with some dude who she hadn't planned on staying in Portland, but was staying with this dude and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I don't know if I can do anything else because I might get beat up. I'm afraid that this guy's going to beat me up. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get beat up. And I was like, whoa, like, is everything okay?
Did she ask you for money?
No. She didn't ask me for money. But after she's talking about getting beat up, I was like, wow, do you need me to, like, you know, like, mediate it all? And she's like, well, it's kind of like what I'm into. I was like, okay, cool. Like, do you want me to drop you off now? Like, we can smoke another bowl or whatever, but, like, this is just not working out. I don't think we can hang out. But if you want to hang out again, like...
Have you ever used an online dating site?
I have not. No. Never.
Would you?
I don't think so. I feel like you meet people, throughout your life in different places, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm a serial monogamist. There hasn't really been a lot of lonely spaces. Not that you have to be lonely to date online, but I think, I don't know, for me, it would be kind of a last-ditch effort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no one in my life I'm remotely attracted to or could get along with potentially, so I'm going to go online and try and find somebody.
Do you think you and your partner now would have been a compatible match on?
No, not at all.
Huh.
I wouldn't have dated him in high school. That's how incompatible I feel like we would appear to be online. In our,
That's a common
the persona
theme.
that we
kinda
put
funny.
out, I feel like we would not have been compatible.
Do you feel like you are compatible, though, in...
Definitely.
Yeah, so...
I feel like our spirits are compatible.
Right.
I don't know. On paper, it would be a total train wreck.
Right.
I think.
That's
Apples and oranges.
I'm thinking about my relationship. I feel like we would be pretty compatible. Although I wonder, I would be scared and kind of skeptical about like we should both sign up for it and just see if we are
That's a thing crazy people
I feel
do.
like that is a thing that crazy people would do. Cat people. So last weekend we got a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have friends that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, most of the engaged relationships or recently married people I know met online, and they're always really, it's like, oh, how'd you meet? People that I work with or whatever. Where'd you guys meet? And they're like, oh, it's kind of this like, yeah, we met online. Like,
they kind of duck
don't
it.
judge me. Yeah, like
they're
it's
still
a
worried about
real
the stigma.
relationship. I promise. We're engaged, but we met online. I think it's great. I think some people are just like, I want to meet somebody. I'm not going to wait around.
Mm-hmm.
My life maybe keeps me from getting anywhere where I might meet anybody remotely interesting. And so, I think it's a very active way of
I do
potentially
kind of
meeting
like
someone.
that about people. Just even if I have a really busy life, like my lifestyle's really busy. But having a relationship is important to me. I'm going to take steps. And online dating will be one of those steps. I like that. I like people just being proactive in general, I guess, about their life. Yeah. And if there's something they want to change, they take steps to change it. Do you mind if I ask, so the age range of your friends or people that are recently married or engaged now, what's the age range?
They're all probably mid-late 20s, early 30s. So I feel like there are people that were like, it was like freaking time for me to meet somebody, and then we met each other because we both wanted a serious relationship. And I think that's like definitely a life stage thing where you're like, I don't have an online dating profile because I want to like fuck around and meet a ton of people and just go and like be the 33% or whatever.
Right. So you think
you're like, I'm meeting my life partner,
Do you feel like that those same people, do you think that they would or wouldn't use kind of the more like this is a hookup? Would they do that, or would they never do that, but they would do kind of like the I'm looking for a long-term partner site? Is there a distinction, do you think, between one type of person would go to one type of site and would never do the other type, or maybe they would?
Yeah, I mean, I feel what's funny too is the women that I know that are engaged are the ones that are my friends that did online dating, and then my friends that are dudes that do online dating, it's like, dude, I had like 5 dates this week. Like, let me tell you about this chick I had a date with. I'm dating the teacher and the lawyer.
Whoa.
I'd be interested to know, I don't know, more women's stats or more men's stats, I guess.
What do you mean? What's
the likelihood of men sleeping on the first?
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, given the opportunity.
That's what they're on there for. Like any kind of like any kind of marriage or like extended relationship post that is all just fine. After
it works, I guess.
if you had to use a dating site, do you have one that you think you jump to right away? Is there one that's done such a good job of
I don't think I know enough
instilling
about
trust
them.
in you?
I actually really like answering questions about myself, so it would probably be
eHarmony.
eHarmony. Just because I'm so curious about the science. Like, I like to think that love isn't a scientific thing at all, but I'd be curious.
The compatibility might be, though.
Right. Ooh, do you ever think, like, maybe you're missing somebody because you're, like, too busy on your phone? You know, like, there's, like, that commercial where I forget what it is. Like, I've seen it, like, one time. And,
life or...
you know, he would have, like, bumped into, like, his soulmate and looked up and seen her.
If you had gone with
And
Verizon.
then they get married and whatever, have, like, this beautiful life. Yeah. But, you know.
If he just had full coverage, yeah.
But instead, it's like the bump and turn. Oh, you just missed your soulmate because you were too busy creating your OkCupid profile.
There should be an app for that.
Yeah. I think
it reads your aura.
That, yeah.
You can just tell.
It, like, knows the color, complementary color.
Your phones glow the same color when you get close to each other. You're just, like, walking around scanning people. Yeah. Anything else you wish we had covered about online dating?
I think you asked me. When you guys were talking about the stats, I thought, man, I wish they would consider the age range, you know, when you're like, yeah, people get married in 18 months. It's like, normally they're on there when those people are looking to get married, and they didn't meet someone when they were 22 and date them for 4 years. Like, they're like, both of my girlfriends that just are getting married, one of them met her significant other on OkCupid. They moved in together in like 4 months, got married, moved out here from DC, got married within the year. She's pregnant. They just bought a house. They just got a dog. Like, within 2 years, her life is like single to like married with a kid almost, and a dog and a house.
It's 4 really difficult decisions at once.
She just like did it. She's like, I don't know what the heck happened. Jeff and I are doing it. I'm pregnant, which is something I didn't think would happen like right away, but she's like 32.
It's a lot of stress at once. That's crazy.
She was a career woman. Like, that's how she functions. She's like, all right.
Prioritize. Organize it.
Time to buy a house.
I think
I'm 32 and a half. Time to buy a house right now. Yeah. Time to get pregnant. Like, do it. I mean, my friend that just casually, like, he started out on OkCupid. He was recently divorced, met someone really great on OkCupid, like, first date. Rebound a little bit probably, but she was great for him then, and they dated for like 6 months, and then just kind of broke up because they both realized they weren't really trying to have a serious relationship. Like, she was recently divorced and had a small kid, and then he just started having fun, and that was like, you could just see the like shackles of like what he had left behind, and now I'm not dating because I need to date. He was just like 5 different dates a month, like, oh no, I can't hang out because I have a first date, which I think was great for him. It was fun. And now he's been in a relationship for 3 years that he met on OkCupid.
How did you guys meet?
Yeah.
Middle school.
Middle school, yeah.
Shit.
I don't remember the first time I ever met
Miss Kitchen.
Teddy. What? You remember?
Yeah, Miss Kitchen's class. That's how I know you.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Remember Miss Kitchen?
I don't.
She was the health teacher.
Miss Kitchen?
Yeah, in 7th grade. Sorry, 7th grade, Miss Kitchen.
You guys had the same health class.
Yeah, we had that class together. She had a thong on. She bent over. This is true.
I gave Teddy his first in-class boner, I think, is what he told me.
Yeah, I got a boner in class.
Because I had a thong that went over my pants.
She did it on purpose. She was a whore. But that's all true.
Yeah, it is true. I don't
That's
remember that.
the...
Met in 7th grade. You guys, how long did it take for you guys to ever date?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't remember the process of of us asking each other out. I remember being really stoked to date Teddy because he was not like the other guys. A lot of guys that I went to school with were like super, I don't know, I guess preppy or redneck because we grew up in a redneck town. And he wore like metal shirts and was like punk rock kind of, or metal or whatever.
For a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah. And I was really into it. And I remember when we were dating, I remember he was, I don't know, it was just really, I remember one time we were sitting at lunch with him and his friend Ryan. And I remember him looking at me and being like, why are your eyebrows so hairy? And I was like, I don't know. And like, even though that was really mean, like loving that he said that because it was not like what other guys would say. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It wasn't mean. It was like funny. And we all laughed about it, and it was good. And I was like, I don't know, I guess I should plug them more. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm 13.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I remember when... This is what's funny is I remember... I don't know if we dated twice or something, because you have one idea of how we broke up, and I have another. So we might have dated twice within our middle school.
We did. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is news to me.
Apparently, maybe like one or two times, because I remember when I broke up with Teddy, I called him, which obviously we didn't have cell phones at the time, but I remember leaving him a voicemail saying, I'm sorry, Teddy, but I'm not going to stop smoking, so we're not going to be together, because he didn't like that
my mom probably heard that.
He didn't like that I smoked cigarettes, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to stop smoking, so we're over. And he remembers a note or something that I wrote him. You said that you remember like a note that I wrote you. So we might have dated twice, and I wrote with you twice. I don't know.
See how it plans out this time.
So, how did you guys meet again in adult life?
She lived right down the street from where we live.
Hold on a second, though. When we saw each other, I remember one time Teddy Facebooked me saying that he had a dream about me in a weird context, not like a sexual or like
we
inappropriate.
met up at one point when I was like 19.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. Yeah. We went out and had like
out once.
a coffee or something like that.
Both had
boyfriend, and girlfriend, and we just like caught up, and it was really fun and cool.
Looked at her boobs a little bit.
You looked at my boobs?
Yeah. You had your boobs hanging out.
That's cute. I was really nervous to see you, actually. I was like nervous because I was like, I have a boyfriend, and this is like my ex-boyfriend, even from like a young age. I was like nervous because I always thought you were really cool. So it was like exciting to meet up with him.
It's a standard trend of thought.
But we both had boyfriend, girlfriend, so I felt comfortable like meeting up and hanging out with somebody who...
Having some coffee.
You know, whatever, like super casual. And it went really well.
We actually met up here, though.
After I saw you... But wait.
She lived...
Where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she lived...
For the first time in years.
Wow.
Like down the street by Peninsula Park.
But it was because we ran into each other at Sasquatch.
Well, that was like a year prior almost.
Wait, I ran into him at Sasquatch at the Built to Spill show. And I like bumped into him and I was like, oh my God.
Holy shit.
And we rocked out together at Built to Spill. And I remember super drunk or high or whatever. But I remember my friends, after we left that show, my friends who I was with were like, who was that guy? Like, he was really into you. And I was like, oh, that's Teddy. That was actually his girlfriend. And they were like, oh, he was like inappropriately into you. And I was like, kind of like
they have
flattered.
Like a skewed sense of
but
reality.
you were
I
also
don't
drunk
think that
or whatever.
was the
And you were
case.
just really excited.
I think we were just hanging out and rocking out.
But it was really exciting to see each other. And then probably like a few months, like 6 months, I don't know, after that, I texted him and I was like, all right, let's get a drink. I want to catch up. And then we met up here. And after we talked here, I went home and I was like, oh my God, this is weird. I'm really into this guy who I know from Oregon City, like who I dated. It was like a really weird feeling. But then ever since, we've just spent every day together.
It's been great.
It's been the best days of Teddy's life ever. I'm just kidding.
Anyway, online dating. What do you think about that?
Not for me.
Have you ever been? Have you ever used an online dating service?
I've never been on an online dating service.
I feel like to an extent that's like, besides keeping up with like family and friends, like the initial like purpose, like when MySpace came out, it was like a way to meet people, and it was obviously like utilized.
Social media.
Yeah, like obviously utilized to like meet other people outside of just a social context. Like it was kind of like stemming off of like the whole dating website thing, because like you know, dating websites were like in their fetal stages.
Infancy.
If infancy would be, but they were like little baby website fetuses at the time.
But like Facebook and Facebook and MySpace, you could like catch up with people or like meet new people in a non-aggressive way and just be like, oh, you're friends with this person, so I'm gonna like say hey to you because we know the same person and it's easy for me to like introduce myself.
I'm gonna leave you a comment.
Yeah, or whatever. I'm gonna like your shit because this person I know knows you or something.
As far as like dating goes, though, I don't know. Some people are into it. I've just never been in.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never done it. I've never really had a desire to do it. Tinder, the idea of Tinder scares the shit out of me.
I've never been on
do that.
Any kind of online dating site. I've never made a profile. To be honest, it's like I don't know, I've always been so consumed with people in my own circle or my own, you know what I mean, like meeting people in my own weird way that I've never found it necessary to make a profile. But I don't necessarily like look down on people because the age that I am, I never like look at people who are near my own age like they're...
Like there's no negative stigma to you with people who may or may not have met people.
I think there's definitely a negative stigma.
Stigma for sure.
I think there's a negative stigma, but I don't know, like, if my best friend were to make a profile, to be honest, like, if my best friend were to make a profile on whatever site, I would be like, you don't need to do that. I don't know. I don't mean to talk shit about it.
Do you not have friends that have done that?
My brother has done it, but I think that he's done it to get laid. I don't think he's done it to find a life partner.
I have friends.
There's multiple reasons
I have
to get
friends
it.
who've done it in like a serious context. Yeah, for sure. And met boyfriends. Not as far as I can tell. She dated. There was like two specific instances where she got really into two different guys at two separate times via, I want to say like OkCupid probably. And she'd always kind of been active, like the last, like as a young adult, you know, like the last probably like 4 or 5 years into like the OkCupid thing that I know of. And it seemed like she kind of dated like whoever was interested kind of deal, not necessarily who was right for her, because I met one of the dudes and he was just kind of like a, you know, not really her type, didn't really seem like her type, but he was into her, and so she pursued it and whatever, and then I had that falling out with that guy because he was also seeing other girls and was comfortable with them both, like meeting at certain, like he'd throw parties and invite like all the girls he was seeing. But I think for him, like his mentality throughout the whole thing was that it was like I don't want to say like a swingers type of thing, but like kind of a freelance, like you can kind of just do whatever you want. Like you meet these people online and then privately you do whatever, whether it's hang out, go on dates, have sex, or do that often, and then maybe do that with other people too. Like for him, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, but I mean,
and it was like an open-ended kind of thing, whereas for her, she was looking for like an actual.
See, but that depends on the social network that you're going through. Like, OkCupid
I don't think so.
Well, totally it does, because certain sites are for different things.
It just depends on what you're looking for. It doesn't matter what the medium
That's what I'm
is.
saying. It's
If
like
you're going on Tinder looking for a husband.
that is exactly what I'm saying.
But OkCupid isn't all about just meeting up and having sex.
I'm saying
right?
if he has a profile in OkCupid, it means that he's looking for a relationship. If he has a profile on Tinder, it's looking for a hookup. Like, what I'm saying is,
It does. I mean, this was okay.
different sites mean different things.
Well, I
And-
mean, if you're paying money and you're going on eHarmony, then or JDate or fucking Farmers Only, whatever.
Farmers.
Like, yeah, you're looking for one person, but who's to say that you don't know these people very well? How do you know that they go on one date with you and then a week later they have 5 other people?
I literally
in their list line, like they're Netflix cute,
Yeah. I literally read an article the other day, I have to mention, that was of the bartender's point of view of Tinder people who come to their bar. And there was like 4 stories that bartenders from bars like wrote to like Huffington Post or something like that. And they were like their experience where the Tinder person lined up like a few dates at their bar, like back to back of Tinder people. And like, it was really funny because they would like have their one date at like 5 o'clock or like 3 o'clock when like happy hours started. And they'd have like their 2-hour thing and be like, okay, goodbye. And then their next one would come in like 45 minutes later and then they would have their thing. And then the third one would come in, which is the one that they usually would end up going home with. You know what I mean? It was like a Tinder thing. So it was like, they're like scoping out people
you wait
that they
until
want
you
to
find
fuck.
the one who's going to take you home.
Or something.
The last one's
But they would
probably
have
been
them,
at the bar doing the same thing, so
back,
you're all
and
both
it would
drunk.
be like these
Go home.
exact, or the guys, for a girl's point of view, like the guy would pay for
one-stop
it because
shop.
of the whole like sexist, like who's going to pay for the bill? The guy wants to pay for the bill most of the time, but yeah, so it was like funny to hear that. But my aunt has a husband. She got married a few times and had like marriage problems for a few years with multiple husbands, and then found somebody through probably a Christian dating website, and they're like happily married, even though she's not super religious. She maybe was then, and she's really happy. This is really weird, but my dad like found after his marriage with my mom for 26 years, a few years later, found a woman from the Philippines who he fell in love with, and they're happily married now for a few years. They met online. And it's like not the kind of love that I would want in my life, I don't think. I mean, I don't mean to disregard their connection because I don't know it personally. And so I can't speak for it very well. But when I hear about, I just can't imagine that a woman who's 35 and a guy who's 53 or 52 really have so much women's from the Philippines, man's from the United States, have so much in common that they fell madly in love with each other online. I think my dad, after losing his wife of so many years, needed someone who was going to take care of household things and would love him and have sex with him and be affectionate to him. I mean, to be honest, and there's a lot of different family structures out there, and I don't mean to talk shit about that. I think a lot of people make families and get married for all different kinds of reasons. But every time a situation like that happens, it makes me feel like true love or this romantic type of love is less possible for other people. You know what I mean? Like this idea that we find somebody and we fall in love and then we're with them forever because of that becomes less possible when I hear about more and more crazy shit like people who are 20 years, I don't know. I don't mean to sound judgmental, but it just sounds crazy to me. Like they take care of each other and that's great. And she gets her family in the Philippines taken care of, and she gets to live a really fruitful life and just got a nursing degree and like is living a really great life here. And I'm really happy for her because she's super nice. But at the same time, like I can't imagine my dad's like, I don't know, like it's not my mom. You know what I mean? It's not the woman he married. You know what I mean? It's totally different. It's a woman who's just willing to take care of him. It's not like love. I mean, it's a different kind of love, I guess. I don't know. I haven't talked to him that deeply about it. I don't know. With his experience of online dating, it was so quick and so fast and so bizarre that I'm like, I'm sure you're happy because you have someone to do your laundry and your dishes, but I can't imagine and someone to have sex with you who's hot. She's small and hot.
She is small and she is hot.
She's small, Filipino, and very sexy. And he is like overweight, very white.
Is that what he was looking for, though? When he was
I don't know.
go looking for that?
I don't know. I think he was upset because, to be honest, I think that he was lonely, and so he was like going to online dating sites because he was lonely. And this is going to be the weirdest thing. My mom's 50th birthday, I remember I was out to dinner with her at P.F. Chang's downtown, and it was just me and her, and we had never heard about this woman. Like, my family had never heard about this woman that my dad was apparently dating online. My dad, I think, got drunk and Googled my mom's name and saw a YouTube video of my mom and her new boyfriend, who's like a really great guy. Like, they did a marathon together, and she lives in Hawaii, and like some journalist in Hawaii was doing a thing about the marathon that was in Hawaii and interviewed both of them. And in the video, my mom was like, "Oh yeah, I finished at this time, but my boyfriend Vern finished at this time." And I think my dad drunkenly on my mom's birthday Googled her name because he was sad and saw that video and then sent a mass text to my family and was like, "I'm engaged to this woman," which finds out he wasn't engaged to her at that point. But so it was like really hurtful at the time because it was like a bad way to introduce this woman. On my mom's birthday, a mass text. It was like a mass text to the kids and then a voicemail to my mom because my dad was drunk and like hurt and really sad. And it was only a few years. Like, so he sees this video of my mom like with a boyfriend. And so he's like drunk and hurt. And then he makes this really like emotional thing. But then the whole, you know what I mean? The whole family's like, what the fuck? Like, dude, grow up a little bit. You know, you don't need to become engaged to someone just because mom has a boyfriend. Like, and then he's engaged to her and then he marries her in Vegas a year later.
Wow.
And then she's my stepmom. So weird. And she's my sister age. Like, it's weird. It's like weird. Like, I'm pro online dating to an extent, but I'm also like, I'm cynical because it's like less personal. And I've had no problem dating people without being online. Like, you date within your social circle, I guess. I mean, Teddy wasn't in my social circle for a long time, you know? And he just popped up.
It's a reasonable option for somebody who isn't quite as personal or outgoing as someone like you?
You know, I can see how some people, male or female, but for some reason my mind leans more towards males who are unsocial and like maybe like people who don't put themselves out there much would want to lean towards online because it's so much easier to express yourself in writing. I mean, even when you're in a relationship, it's easier to express yourself in writing. You know, it's like, even if you have a problem or you want to say something, like, it's so easy to write your problems or your loving things down to somebody else instead of saying it. Because when you're saying it, there's just so much vulnerability there. So I can understand that. There's something to being face-to-face and building a relationship face-to-face. Like, one thing that's so beautiful when you build a relationship face-to-face is that you have to fucking be vulnerable. Like, you have to spill your guts. Yeah, I don't get to... I mean, me and Teddy had our hours of chatting online when we were young. You know what I mean? Like, MSN or whatever, AOL was so popular back then. You know what I mean? Like, that chatting thing. Yeah. You know what's really funny is that Teddy's screen name, I remember it.
Do you?
Yeah, it was Meet Mr. Yuck. Because Yuck was that, like, poison control face. Yeah. I remember it. I don't remember what mine meant. Mine was probably, like, Soccer Girl 69. Because I was, like, playing soccer, but also a total slut. So it was probably something super stupid like that. Anyway, I just remember his screen name. We chatted online for a lot because when we were in middle school, it was like a cool way to like, when you're outside school, to communicate with each other on the DL and like flirt and be whatever. And that was cool.
So this is great. Thank you. That was really
good.
Good stuff.
Let's go get tacos.